Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Football Fignuts podcast. This is Season 8, Episode 12, because we were on a bye week last week, and if you counted all of them, it is 322 episodes, almost a full year's worth. I'm Craig.
And I am Britt.
And Britt, we're back after a needed bye week last week.
Yeah, I don't remember why. I was exhausted last week. I think it was just work stuff. But yeah. I remember just getting up Wednesday morning and being like, I got to message Craig. There's no way I could do this tonight.
Yeah, and I was still getting over whatever was stuck in my face for the last 3 weeks. So
yeah, so we apologize for missing week 5. But yeah, you're honestly, the way my season's going, you're probably better off not hearing from me. Oh man, my season long has been bad. Yeah. My DFS picks have been But anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves. It does. That's going to be my point at the end. It's a cycle. So, but I'm getting ahead of ourselves. Craig, what are you drinking tonight?
So tonight I have to take the can out of the Brewmate canister that you got me so long ago because I still use it.
Those things are so good, aren't they?
They really are. I mean, because you can have the cloth cozies, which are fine, but this one's good. This I found. Took a little trip to Trader Joe's today, and they have a pretty decent beer section now. Since they don't sell wine here in Connecticut. I have a pumpkin ale made with real pumpkin that I've never had this beer before. Well, I've had this brand. It is from Smutty Nose Brewing, and I've
heard Smutty Nose.
Their pumpkin beer, and I've never had it. Saw it, and I want to try it.
Very nice indeed. All right, I am drinking Diet Cola because I had a migraine on Monday that I have not fully recovered from. I was telling Craig off the air I had to change my prescription glasses, and the last thing my doctor said to me is, it's going to take about a week to get used to it. And I went, okay, and then promptly had a migraine the first day I worked with them on. I wore them over the weekend, and it was fine. But the moment I went and actually tried to work, so I'm recovering from a migraine, so I am on diet soda tonight.
That happens.
So, and Craig, so much has happened since the last time we spoke. Let's jump right into burning hot takes. Would you like to give or receive tonight?
It's been a while, so I will receive. So I'm sure you have many questions or comments.
I have two, and they're kind of sort of related, so I'm glad that you gave me that option. The big news this week is that Robert Saleh is out in New York.
Yes.
It was somewhat sudden. None of us saw it coming when the news broke on the podcasters thread. I think everyone's general reaction was, nah, come on. It absolutely truly happened.
Yeah. Yep. I thought
this would not be the first. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was saying, I thought we all thought if the Jets kept losing, it was gonna happen before the year was over, but not
this fast.
Not week 5, right? Yeah, week 5.
Yeah. I would have said at least week 10. Yeah. So, this is not the first time that an Aaron Rodgers head coach that he has had rumors of not getting along with has been fired midseason. Don't forget, Mike McCarthy was out after week 10 in Green Bay after 12 years there. Mm-hmm. I don't think 12 years as a head coach, but 12 years total with the organization. And he was fired. And then Matt LaFleur was promoted, who was Aaron Rodgers' handpicked successor. So naturally, the comments that have come out afterwards have been Aaron Rodgers made a concern. Now, Aaron Rodgers denies this. Yeah. Aaron Rodgers has come out and said that has not happened. But today he took it up a notch.
Yeah.
Because he made his weekly appearance on the Pat McAfee show, and he didn't appear to insult Jimmy Kimmel this time or to promote RFK Jr. or to be a vaccine denier. Today he wanted to address the Saleh dismissal, and he said, quote, "As far as any of the ridiculous allegations out there, I'm not going to spend more than one sentence in response to it. And that is that I resent any of those accusations because they are patently false. It's interesting the amount of power that people think I have, which I don't. I love Robert," end quote. Craig, what is your general reaction to hearing that quote? Do you believe him? Does it help you? Does anything stand out to you? What's your hot take on that?
I mean, I think, man, because I don't want to, you know what? I don't want to say, because I don't know. I don't want to say that he got him fired, but I think we can all kind of assume he kind of didn't help the situation at all. because I heard another rumor that he was the Jets owner, Woody Johnson.
Woody Johnson, yeah.
I heard a rumor, again, don't know if it's true, but I heard a rumor that he was actually going to fire Hackett because the offense is so inept. And
you can't fire Hackett.
And
Hackett's Rodgers' boy.
Rodgers saved Hackett's job, and Woody was like, well, I got to fire somebody. And our defense doesn't really suck, so Robert's next on the list.
Why do you have to fire anybody at week 5? And this is what Cinch pointed out. They play this week, and if they win, they're leading the division.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Because Buffalo has slipped up twice now, right? Buffalo's lost 2 games already.
So let's see. The AFC East is as follows. The Bills are 3-2 in first place. Yep. The Jets are in second place at 2-3. The Dolphins are 2-3, and the Patriots are 1-4.
So a win this week, I think they're playing Buffalo. A win this week against Buffalo would put them both at 3-3, but the Jets would have the head-to-head.
So technically, they would be first. Technically, yes. Yeah.
So the timing of this is really it. The timing of this doesn't lend to the what's the word I'm looking for here? What's that word?
Believability?
Does not lend to the believability, the theory that Aaron Rodgers had nothing to do with this. I often apply Occam's razor in situations like this. And for those of you listening who are like, Occam's razor, I heard about that once in high school. I don't know what the F you're talking about. It's a mathematical concept that the simplest solution is the best. Mm-hmm. It's the same idea as why 2 + 7 = 9 and not 1 + 1 + 1 + 1, etc. = 9. Because the simpler solution is the best.
Mm-hmm.
So, and use it, you see it in algebra and geometry, all those kinds of things all the time. But basically you apply it to logic as the simplest solution that can't be disproven is preferred.
Mm-hmm, right.
Do I believe Aaron Rodgers for a minute when he says he had nothing to do with this? Absolutely not. Aaron Rodgers has lied to us to our faces before. I'm immunized. Okay, he has lied to our faces before. He has purported crazy shit on these appearances before.
Yep.
I don't believe him for a minute. And then for him to come on and say, I resent any of those accusations? You resent the fact that you set up an image of yourself as a guy who lies and tries to fuck everything over, and as a result, people don't believe you? You're the fucking Pinocchio of the NFL.
That was a weird image in my head.
Yeah. What do you want?
Yeah, like I said, I think I kind of lean towards the Hackett rumor because I don't necessarily think he went up to Woody Johnson to be like, oh, you got to fire Saleh. I don't like him, blah, blah, blah.
No, I don't think that happened either.
I think it's more likely Hackett was going to get fired because Hackett's been there 3 years now, 2 or 3. Yeah. I don't remember. So, and like last year, their offense completely blew. It's terrible. Absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
So I can see Woody be like, well, our offense kind of sucks. It's Hackett's fault. So if that happened, I could see Rodgers being like, hey, don't fire my friend or else or something. I don't know. So to me, that rumor's more believable to me, but that's it. Yeah.
There's also a rumor going around that Saleh was going to make a change at OC. Not he was going to demote him from calling plays. And maybe that's part of it. I have no... The bottom line is we will never know idea.
Out of curiosity, if my browser opens, what was Hackett's win record as an offensive coordinator?
It's not great. It's good. It's good with Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, but outside of that, I think it's pretty shitty.
I'll have to look that up.
We'd have to look it up. I can do that because I'll do
Let's
that
do
really
it live.
Quickly.
I'm just curious.
Let's do it live. All Hackett, right?
Yep. On a side note, this beer is actually pretty good. It's a very subtly spiced pumpkin beer.
I have had that beer before, and it is very interesting. Okay, here we go. Statistics under coaching history. Oh, interesting. He was a coach in Kansas City for several years in the 90s. I did not know that.
Oh, under Marty Schottenheimer?
Yeah. And he was the offensive coordinator from 93 to 97.
Oh.
Then he took over as the head coach at USC.
Oh. And
then in 2001, he coordinated for the Jets. Then he went to the Bucks. Then he went to the Raiders. Wow. Wow. Okay. Looking to see if there's a record win-loss percentage. In his 5 years at KC as an offensive coordinator, he had an 86% win rate. In his 4 years with the Jets, he had a 66% rate.
Okay.
This can't be the same guy. The record for him ends at 2010.
Uh-oh. Wrong Hackett?
Is that possible?
Hackett Jets. Nathaniel Hackett.
Okay, I'm getting my Hacketts confused. I'm like, wait a minute. This sounds an awful familiar, but not quite right. Okay, let's see.
He was the head coach of the Denver Broncos for like a year or like half a year.
Here we go. Coaching results. Okay. As the offensive coordinator in Green Bay, he spent 3 years there. His win rate was 98%.
With Rodgers.
That was the year that they would win like 14 games a year back then. Then he went to Jacksonville, win rate 38%. Buffalo, 2 seasons, 45%. Jets, 41%. Then he went to Denver and he won 19% of his games and got his ass fired. And then he landed with the Jets. This was his second year with the Jets.
Okay.
He started last. So he came with Rodgers in 2023.
Okay.
So what the hell is going on in the Mets game?
I don't know. What's going on in the Mets game?
I don't know. It's second and third with nobody out in the bottom of the sixth. Did they double steal to get to second and third? Wow, that's gutsy. I like that. I like playoff gutsy. Playoff gutsy. All right, what have you got for me tonight?
So there's been a lot of teams who have up and downs over these last 5 weeks. Some of them kind of drastic. So if you look at, I'm going to throw out like 3 team names, maybe 4, and I just want to know your opinion. Like, which team do you think is like an absolute, like, this year, like, they're completely, like, there's no chance for them no matter what?
Right. At this point, their ship has sailed.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So the Dolphins.
Yeah.
The Browns.
Yeah.
The Jaguars. And then there was one other team. Thanks, Internet. Sorry. The Giants.
Okay, so if I'm putting them in order of least hopeful to most hopeful, the least hopeful team that's completely lost on that list, and there's no way they recover, is the Miami Dolphins. And that is because Tua is hurt, A-Chain is hurt, this team is immensely talented, but the key pieces are getting hurt. Now, Raheem Mostert's back. Mostert's going to probably take over the backfield role regardless of whether A-Chain's hurt or not. But without a person who can throw the ball there, their offense is predicated on pass run. What's the word I'm looking for? Wow, I'm struggling with words today. I usually have the best words. People tell me that all the time.
Usually you do.
With tears in their eyes, they come up to me and say, "Sir, you have the best words." But tonight, I'm drawing a blank. Balance and unpredictability is what you think they can run. They can run on 3rd and 8. They can pass on 1st and 10. This team is unpredictable. Without Tua back there, they are predictable. And that is why they have no shot. Going next, so it was the Browns, Jaguars, and Giants. The next most hopeless team is the Jaguars. They appear to be just completely freaking imploding. There's reports now that Gabe Davis was yelling at Trevor Lawrence on the sideline. Let me tell you something. I ain't ever seen Trevor Lawrence give a shit about anything. So I doubt he's going to give a shit about Gabe Davis complaining. So that leaves the most hopeful 2 as the Browns and the Giants. And the third most hopeless team on that list would be the Browns. And that's only because Deshaun Watson continues to be Deshaun Watson. Not the Deshaun Watson we knew back in Houston, but somebody pointed out on Twitter that he has already settled more lawsuits as a Cleveland Brown than thrown touchdowns. It's like 26-19. It's funny, but it's absolutely true.
But it's not funny.
Right? So he's settled 26 lawsuits out of court, but he's only thrown 19 touchdowns. That's disgusting. And that means that the most hopeful team is the Giants. And the reason the Giants are probably the most hopeful is because as bad as they appear to be and as inept, at least they have looked good at times. Daniel Jones, the last 2 games, has looked far better than we've seen him, but nobody else seems to be keeping pace. And Daniel Jones, let's be honest, Daniel Jones cannot carry that team, period. He is
No,
not
he
carry
needs a
the
lot of
team
help.
quarterback.
He needs a lot
He
of
needs
help.
a lot of help, and he doesn't have it around him, which means when he has a bad game, they're going to score 0 points. And when he has a good game, they may only score 7. It can't be a one-man show. He's not a creator. He's not a guy who takes the team on his back. He's just not. So that's my order. What about you? Who's the hopeless ones in there, and who do you? I mean, and don't get me wrong. I don't think there's hope for the Giants. I think they're just the least down.
Yeah, I would say in that order, I would agree with you. The Giants are probably the most hopeful out of that list.
Yeah, that's the right word.
Like I know Cinch is gonna say that I just hate the Browns, but I just think with Deshaun Watson there and the Browns' continued we can't get rid of him attitude, they are just gonna tank the rest of the year. Like, and I know the Bengals have their own problems, fine, but I think the Browns just can't do anything. And as long as Deshaun Watson is there, I don't think they're going anywhere. So I think I put the Browns on the bottom, and then I am really disappointed in the Jaguars. For me, the Jaguars would be next.
Yeah, I thought they were going to be better, and they're just
their offense is so boring. I don't know another way to put it. Like
back to the preseason. How much did I talk about ATN? I thought ATN was going to have a big role. Was going to make big. No, hasn't done jack.
Now he might not even start next week. I know he hurt his shoulder, but I think they made Tank might be the starting running back now. I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised.
And then the Dolphins without Tua, their whole game plan revolved around Tua. Not even Tyreek Hill, but having Tua as their quarterback and him not being there. I don't think they had a plan B at all.
Well, that's the problem. It's not even that Tua was amazing or had to do certain things, but it's the same kind of thing you see with like Patrick Mahomes. I hate to keep going back to the Chiefs as an example, but Patrick Mahomes creates. He has this bizarre ability through the system that he's in that he can find things that other people might miss. He scrambles, he runs, but it's the same kind of concept. Every play you line up could be a run, could be a pass, and it does not matter down in distance. Down in distance does not matter. It's 3rd and 15 for the Chiefs. Patrick's back to pass, and he will scramble and get 20 yards. It'll happen. It happens all the time. With Tua not back there, where's that threat? I'm not afraid of him throwing the deep ball to Hill. I'm not afraid of whoever they put back there scrambling.
Yeah, no.
I'm not afraid of it. It's load up the box. They're going to pass short passes, and they're going to run the ball, and that's all they're going to be able to do.
Yeah.
Is Tua done? Is Tua gonna have to retire at this point? I kind of feel like he does.
I honestly hope he does for his own sake and health. I don't think he's going to. I think he's going to come back and play again. I don't personally think he should because he gets hit in the head again, which, let's face it, he's going to. Like, I'm just worried he's not going to get up one time,
This last time, the moment he started to get off the ground, you knew.
Yep.
The moment there's guys who have, and it's not like he's new to football and doesn't know how to hide a concussion. At this point, I think he has suffered so many of them that he is now prone, and concussions are a cumulative effect. We've had this conversation on this podcast before, right? Oh, is that? Oh my God! Francisco Lindor just hit a grand slam.
Uh-oh! Don't tell Cinch. You didn't watch it yet.
Don't worry. Don't post this to the morning. Don't post this to the morning. It's fine. It's fine. Francisco Lindor just hit a grand slam. The Mets are up 4-1. And the last thing I did before we come on the air? What's the last thing I did?
You did it.
I put money on the Mets. I put money on the Mets money line at like plus 135 because they were down 1-0. Now they're up 4-1. And this is how I did the exact same thing. 10-second timeout. Craig knows this story. The day that the Brewers lost to the Mets eliminated the Brewers. Don't forget, that was a tie game late in the game, 0-0. I put like $10 on the Mets at like plus 200 to win that game. And then I watched back-to-back solo shots from the Brewers. And the Mets were down 2-0, and I went, fuck this. And I chucked my phone in the corner, and I went to bed. And I woke up the next morning to a deposit.
Nice.
And so I said to Craig, I'm like, the last time the Mets were in a bad situation, I put money on them, and they came back.
Yeah.
When Cinch hears this, he's gonna be like, "You're gonna have to bet every game the rest of the year. You know this, right?" I'm like, oh, okay, I shouldn't have said this. All right, so that was good. That was fantastic. I I don't know. I don't even know what to make of the league this year. It has been so insane. Injuries abound. But, we are missing one key point. Instead of doing another hot take, I would just like to congratulate Craig. He won the Sturgis Bowl this week against me during our off week. So I have to dust off the Sturgis Cup.
Thank you. It was a tough fought battle. You almost came back.
Literally the oldest trophy in sports, or in fantasy sports, I should say. This is a 125-year-old sailing trophy that I got off of eBay about 15 years ago for like $1.50 with shipping. I think I got free shipping on it. The damn thing is just a tarnished piece of metal on a wooden box.
Yep.
I keep waiting for it to fall apart, but it now has to go to Craig. So we will make that swap. Probably we'll do that at Britsgiving. We'll make a big deal out of it.
That works.
So we can hear Sean complain about nobody ever gives him a trophy.
Yeah.
But anyway,
things happen,
So congratulations to Craig, but unfortunately, I predict that is the last thing Craig is going to congratulate on today, because now it is time for America's favorite game. And Craig is 0 for 4 this year in America's favorite game.
I am. It's been a rough year for this game.
So for those of you who don't remember, America's favorite game is where we look at the lines, because over-unders can equate to fantasy points. And who knew that scoring more points equals more fantasy points? We did. So we're going to look at games that are under 40 or over 50 on games that we might want to consider avoiding, or games we might want to target. Craig, this week, and I changed just to make sure Craig doesn't get comfortable, I changed the site I get the lines from every week. This week, our lines come from USA Today.
Alrighty.
There are 2 games at exactly 52.5.
Oh, jeez.
And there are 3 games under 40. You know the rules. You get 3 strikes in each, but if you don't use all your strikes and you get all of them in one category right, they carry over. Do you want to go after the 2 high games or the 2 low games first? Or the 3 low games first?
Let's try the high games first.
Okay, 3 strikes. There are 2 games. They're both exactly 52.5. Tell me what games I'm looking at.
And no Chiefs this week.
Chiefs are off. Yes. This year the Chiefs has not been a good indicator, but years past, you started to make sure that if the Chiefs weren't playing somebody terrible, it was probably a Chiefs game.
All right, so let's go with 2 teams who did well last week. Or the defenses they played terrible. I'm not sure. Either way. Let's go Commanders, Ravens.
Washington, Baltimore is a 52.5. That is absolutely correct. You got the first one right off the bat.
Hooray.
That is the one I thought you would struggle with. 52.5. Who do you like in that game? Who do you like?
Yeah, honestly, I've been really impressed with Daniels and the Commanders. They've been like a quietly good team. And plus they're playing the Ravens, so I'm gonna have to say Commanders.
Yeah, I think Jaden Daniels is Terry McLaurin. I mean, while he's not burning the world down, his numbers are up, and that's really good to see. So yeah, I like the Commander. I like what I'm seeing out of the Commanders' offense, and Baltimore's offense is just going to be Baltimore's offense. So all right, what about the other one? You got 3 strikes left and one more game over 50. It's exactly 52.5, and I think this one you should nail pretty easily.
Oh, that means it's going to be worse.
Follow your gut, I'm telling you.
Let's go Cardinals-Packers.
Cardinals-Packers is incorrect. That is a 49.5.
Oh, man.
49.5. So that is strike 1.
Damn.
I do like that game, though. I think that game, I might bet the over at 49.5.
Yeah, I think you should. Well, it's definitely not the Patriot game.
Texans at Patriots. Okay. I'm not going to do that one. Gotcha.
All right. I don't know why I'm going to pick this one. It's probably going to be wrong. But because of how they played last week, both of these teams, it's gonna hurt me to say this.
Go for it.
Bengals and the Giants.
That's a 49.
Damn it.
That is strike 2. I knew that's where you were going to go. And I'm looking at it. I'm like, don't do it. Don't do it.
All right, let's see.
All right, you're down to your last strike. What's the only other game over 50? It's exactly 52.5.
Damn. This one's harder than I thought it was going to be. All right, let's go, because this offense can score a lot.
Yeah.
Let's go Lions-Cowboys.
That's absolutely correct.
Hooray.
I cannot believe it took you that many guesses. The Lions offense is they just put up points. and the Cowboys are suddenly starting to show a little bit of a signs of life. So that absolutely correct. You get to carry over a strike. Lions, Cowboys, it's all the big names. I have a feeling this is going to be a little bit of a ground game. So I'm going to be very interested when we get to the DFS portion to see how expensive the running backs are for the Lions and the Cowboys, because I think there might be some value to be had there. And I'm going to be honest with you, I have not looked. I'm doing my DFS predictions on the fly, because the first 5 weeks, all I've done is study charts, and I've been terribly bad. So I am going to trust my gut today. But you now have 4 strikes.
All righty.
There are 3 games under 40. Tell me one of them.
Under 40. All right, let's go with the Texans-Patriots, because the Patriots are terrible.
Absolutely. That's a 38 even. And believe it or not, that is the highest of the 3.
Oh, wow.
The other 2 games are actually lower than this, but you're absolutely correct. You have all 4 of your strikes and 2 games to find.
Wow, let's see. Let's go with another bad team. Let's go Falcons-Panthers.
Falcons-Panthers is incorrect. Oh. That is a 47.5.
That is a lot higher than I thought you were going to say.
It's the Kirk Cousins effect.
True.
They're starting to show signs of life. What did they score last week? They scored like 35 last week, didn't they?
I think.
What did they? I'll look it up. All right, you keep looking.
All right, let's go with another inept team playing against a team that's right now kind of iffy. I thought they would be a lot better. They're really not. Let's go with the Browns-Eagles.
Browns-Eagles is strike number, this is 4 out of 6. Where are you? That's a 43.5.
Well, I got lower.
43.5. Yeah, the final score of the Falcons-Bucks game last week was 36-30. The Falcons won that game by 6 and scored 36 points. So that's probably part of the reason. The week before they scored 26. I think week 3 they stunk. I'm looking back to see if I can find their week 3 score. They scored 17. So they've scored 26 and 36 the last 2 weeks. And I think people expect them to be able to score some points this week. So, all right. So what do you got? 2 strikes left and 2 games left.
Son of a bitch. All right.
We got the last 2 wrong.
I know.
More from me.
All right. Let's go Chargers-Broncos.
Chargers-Broncos is 35.5. Absolutely correct. That is the lowest game of the week. The lowest game of the week. That is so disappointing, because the Chargers, I feel like, are a team. First, their backfield's terrible. This is another example of how if your offense is one-sided, you're going to struggle. Justin Herbert is still a very, very good quarterback. Very good quarterback. But both his receivers are gone. He's got rookies at wide receiver. He has got guys who are like, just give me a year and I'll show you I can still run running backs all around him. He just has no weapons. And Denver, I don't know what to make of Denver. I think Bo Nix flips a coin every day and decides whether or not he's going to score touchdowns or not. So
true.
I'm avoiding that game like the plague.
All right.
You got 2 guesses. 1 really bad game out there. I feel it. You've got it this time, Craig. You're killing it. What do you got for me? The last game under 40.
Under 40. Let's go Colts-Titans.
Strike 5 of 6.
Damn
Colts Titans is a 42.5.
Oh, son of a bitch.
So you're down to your last guess.
It's between 2 games.
I'm saying nothing.
It's the Jaguars and Bears, or it's the Bills and the Jets.
Ooh.
Son of a
bitch. We just talked about how bad the Jags offense has been. The Bears are still getting their feet under them. I can understand that. And the Bills at Jets has you could make the argument is the change the head coaches sometimes fire teams up.
True.
And sometimes they're like, fuck this guy.
True.
And Robert Saleh was kind of a player's coach. So I don't know if the Jets come up fired up. So I think either of these games could be correct.
Or is it the Steelers-Raiders? Damn it.
The Steelers played in the rain on Sunday night. I made a massive error. Sunday night, I'm sitting on the couch and it's like 7:30 and I didn't check the weather. I just opened the betting app and the over-under was like 41 points. And I'm like, there's no way this game is under 41. Cowboys Steelers under 41? Put the over. Turn on the TV and it's freaking raining buckets.
Yeah, those are definitely under games usually, like 9 times out of 10.
Oh my god, I was like, man, this reminder: don't blind bet. Don't blind bet. I lost $5, but I lost $5. That's right. The Mets are going to get me back tonight, so it's fine. All right.
Better.
So you got 3 games on the table. I think all 3 are reasonable guesses, but one of them could be right, and 2 of them are definitely wrong. At least 2 of them. So, got to make a decision. Where are you going with this?
All right. It's really whose offense do I think is the most inept?
Fair.
Man. All right. Let's. All right. Steelers Raiders. I can't overthink it.
Steelers Raiders is correct. 36.5.
Oh my god.
Frank has finally in week 6 won America's favorite game,
right,
and shut me up because I was like, he's never going to win this, and he did. So games where Vegas sees points being scored are Washington at Baltimore and Detroit at Dallas. Games where people are not going to expect to score a lot is Houston at New England, Chargers at Broncos, and Steelers at Raiders. As always, start your studs. But for DFS purposes, outside of a captain's pool, I'm not touching Houston, New England at all.
Yeah,
like, unless that's the only game I get to use, like a captain's lineup, forget it. I'm not touching that game. Nico Collins went to the IR today. Forget it.
Yeah, it might be time for
brutally bad.
Might be time for Tank Dell.
It might be Tank Dell time. Okay. Wow, the Mets are threatening again. They got runners on the corners and nobody out in the bottom of the 7th.
Wow.
Blow this open.
And then it goes back to New York, or they play in Philly? Or no, they're in New York now.
They're in New York. So it's 2 at the higher seed, which was Philly. Games 1 and 2 are in Philly. Games 3 and 4 are in New York. And then if there's a game 5, it goes back to Philly. So if they lose tonight, they go back to Philly for game 5. But if they win tonight, it's over.
Gotcha.
And the Mets don't play until Sunday, which is a problem because I'm in New York City on Sunday for celebrating my wife's birthday. I don't know the seeding. I think the Dodgers are on the verge of getting eliminated. And if the Dodgers get eliminated, the Mets might be the higher record team.
Who are the Dodgers playing?
I don't even remember. Oh, they're playing San Diego.
Yeah.
What's the San Diego record? Mets have 89 wins. The Padres have 93. So the Mets will open on the road regardless. Okay, thank God. It won't be a shit show in New York on Sunday because the Mets are playing at home. There's the American League Championship Series starts on Monday. So we don't have to worry about that. So anyway, all right. Let's talk about DFS this week. Let's move on to DFS. So DFS, I warned you guys, I've had terrible, terrible luck. So I am just going to fly by the seat of my pants this week. There is a bunch of guys out there. The really good quarterbacks are expensive this week. If you want 20 points out of your quarterback, you're paying up. Jaden Daniels is 87. I'm looking at FanDuel. I don't want FanDuel. I use DraftKings. Jeez. Sort salaries by the right site there. Would you please? Thank you. Now I've got to change this. Okay, there we go. Jordan Daniels is significantly less expensive on DraftKings. He's 7,300. But there is a guy. Now there's a guy under 6,000 in Justin Fields. But we just got busy telling you Steelers Raiders is a game to avoid. So I'm probably going to pay up. If I want to go cheap in a game that I think is going to be higher scoring than it may look, I'm going Andy Dalton at 5,200. Because if Atlanta comes out and starts slinging the ball over the place and getting points on the board, Carolina's going to have to pass. But my ideal position is I want to use Daniels at 7,300. Who do you like this week at quarterback, Greg?
Let's see here. So I do like your pick of Andy.
Yeah, he's my value pick this week, no question. Value pick, easy.
But yeah, if you want to stay under $7,000 for QB, Jordan Love is 6,600, not terrible. Cousins is 6,200. I thought he'd be a lot more.
Cousins is only 6,200.
Yeah, so that's not bad. And then if even because I think he's gonna start, and if he does start, Flacco is 6,000. So I'd probably go with one of those 3.
Yeah, you don't have to pay up.
You don't have to pay up, but if you want to go super cheap, and if you're in a tournament,
because that's where you want to reach. You
That's
want
where
to
you
go
want to
shoot for the
reach.
star at the tournament. Yep. Who are you liking?
Spencer Rattler is starting for the Saints at QB because Derek Carr is hurt. He's only $4,000.
Spencer?
Spencer Rattler is starting.
Okay, yeah. I'm just looking at his projected rostering number, and it's under 1%. But they also don't have him listed as a starter yet on Fantasy Pro, so I'm sure that's going to change.
He is in DraftKings. He's listed. He's the starter.
Well, I'm sure it's true. I'm sure it's just they haven't updated. Fantasy Pros hasn't updated their stuff yet. Is probably what's happened. So wow. Okay. Wow. All right, let's move on to running backs. That's the question. The problem is how many people are going to chase that. I don't know, but we'll find out. It's worth a look. Let's put it that way. My filters are not working here. Okay, why? Why aren't you? Okay, my computer's having some sort of issue here. Some sort of major issue. Why don't you start off and tell me about running backs this week while I try to figure out what's going on over here.
So running backs in week 6 of the NFL, if you open the running back list on DraftKings, almost every other running back is listed as questionable or out.
Feels like it, right?
Running backs have been just decimated this year by injury. Mm-hmm. So the first person on my list who is not injured as of right now is James Conner, excuse me. He's $6,800. He's playing the Packers. The Packers' run defense is not super. Mm-hmm. If you want to save a little money, and again, I was always a big fan of him. Dobbins is $6,200. I don't really like Pollard at $6,000, even though he's playing the Colts, but I'm not really. I like Pollard worked on the Cowboys, but it's really not working, and it's not working the same in Tennessee. Mm-hmm. So I don't really know about that. And then God help me, I'm saying this name out loud. Cam Akers.
Oh Jesus!
Is $5,500. Now that's provided Mixon doesn't start. I don't know if he is or not. So that's another thing you'd have to pay attention to.
True. I'm gonna go slightly differently. I'm gonna buy high on a guy who's low, and I think that he is. And I think based on the projected roster, he's projected to be rostered in 25 to 30% of leagues according to Fantasy Pros. That's Bijan Robinson. He's only turned in 9 points each of the last 2 weeks, but he had 11, 13, 15. Carolina ain't exactly very good. And if Atlanta does get out to a lead, I think he's going to be a huge part of it. So I like Bijan at 6,600. I also like Josh Jacobs at 6,700, but not as much as I like Bijan. Looking down the list right now, just say Jahmyr Gibbs is 7,000. If I'm paying up for a running back, that's probably where I'm paying up. I'm paying up for Jahmyr Gibbs. If I want someone even cheaper who has a lot of upside, but I don't think is going to get more than 15 points because he never does, DeAndre Swift is only 6,200. So I'm looking mid-range guys this week. I'm not spending more than $7,000 on any of my running backs this week. Oh, Derrick Henry's 8,000. Yeah, he sure is. And Derrick Henry scores a touchdown every fucking week. I get it. I can't pay $8,000 for a guy who is going to get me 2 more points than Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah, exactly.
I got Henry between 18 and 19 points. I got Jahmyr Gibbs at 15.9. That's a roughly 2-point change for $1,000. I can't do it. So I'm going to predict. I have a lot of lineups that start with Robinson and Gibbs in it. So
makes sense.
All right, let's move on to running our wide receiver. Yeah. Yeah.
A couple again, if you want to save money, I do like Jalen Tolbert. He's only 5,000. But the other 2 people I do like is Marvin Harrison Jr. You'd have to pay up. He's $7,200. And then I mentioned him before, since Nico Collins is hurt, is Tank Dell, who is 6,200 right now, which is pretty cheap.
I like Dell at 6,200 a lot. I do. The other name that's jumping off the page to me is Brandon Ayuk because he just finally scored some points.
Oh, I know. I drafted him, and every week I left him in there.
8 catches for 147 yards, and So here's the question: is that Ayuk finally settling in, or is that Ayuk against? Is that a one-off? And don't forget that's a Thursday night game, so that's not going to apply for your main pools anyway.
Right.
I mean, I kind of like T. Higgins at 6,300 too, but again, that's a Sunday night game. I want badly to be on the Drake London train at 6,700. I so want to believe that. So he had a terrible first week against Pittsburgh.
He did,
but then he had 9 points against New Orleans in week 4. But other than that, he's been at least 14 or 15 points. And last week he went for 27 points. I want to believe in Drake London. I really want to believe in Drake London. But, well, he got a ton of targets. He got 12 targets the week before in New Orleans and only caught half of them. The reason he did so well last week is he caught 12 out of 13 targets. He is not going to catch 12 out of 13 targets every week. And believe it or not, I'm looking at the numbers right now. Last week was his lowest snap count.
Really?
He spent fewer plays on the field than he did in any other game this year, and he did better. So maybe they're just trying to change it up. I don't know. I want to believe in guys like Drake London and Brandon Ayuk. And if you do, now is the time to use them at 6,400 and 6,700 because their price is only going to go up.
That's true.
Only going to go up. But I like Craig's picks a lot better.
So here's a question for you. If you had, out of these 3 guys, and you can only pick 2, because again, we can't give you full lineups. If you had a choice between Tank Dell this week, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Drake London, who are the 2 you would pick?
Is money an issue?
No, but you can only pick 2.
It's probably London and Dell. I mean, Houston does not. Houston looks to be one of those teams that it looks like a next guy up format. As long as CJ Stroud is upright, it looks like a next guy up format.
Yeah,
that's just my gut feeling about it. So I think Tank Dell could be big. He could score a lot. Terry McLaurin's only 6,400 too. We just got talking about how much we like looking at him. What's his numbers been like? Let's see, 2.7 points. 5 points, 18 points against Cincinnati in week 3, 14 points against Arizona, 11 points against Cleveland, but he's got Baltimore this week. I don't know. His target shares have gone up. I mean, he's over 100 yards twice this year already, twice in the last 3 weeks. I mean, he only scored 11 points at Cleveland last week, but that's 4 catches for 112. So, I don't know. I think I like McLaurin. I think I want to believe. I do. I want to believe Drake London. It's not like I'm in the fucking X-Files episode. I want to believe. You know where we need help believing is freaking tight end, because tight end has been a landmine. So I'm gonna put 2 names on the table right now, and I'm gonna walk away.
Okay.
Jake Ferguson is only $5,000.
True.
But he's still Jake Ferguson.
Yes.
George Kittle is only $5,800. That's it. That's all I got for you. Tell me something good. Tell me something good. Right? Give me some points without spending $5,000 on the tight end.
Let's see what we got here.
I mean, Trey McBride is 5,700. He is so overpriced at this point. So overpriced. I can't trust Tucker Kraft.
You can't, although.
Can I? You tell me. Can I trust Tucker Kraft?
Yeah, probably not. Probably not.
Brock Bowers at 6,000 is so overpriced, it's ridiculous.
No, you can't do that. I do. Like, the names I like, again, you really don't want to spend a lot on tight end. Although now it's kind of hard to now. So, like, the cheaper tight ends I'm looking at are either Zach Ertz, who's not that cheap. He's $3,700. Mm-hmm. Cade Otton, who's $3,500.
Yeah.
And then with the new quarterback, as I've always said, tight ends are a safety net. So Juwan Johnson could have a good week this week, because tight ends and, checkdowns are what new quarterbacks usually do. So, and Juwan Johnson's the cheapest one at $3,100.
I mean, I just looked up value play quarterbacks, and Cade Otton came right up on the internets. Like, people are like, yeah, he's gonna be cheap. 42. He's gonna be a salary of 3,500. He's gonna score 8 or 9 points, and that's, it's not value line, but it's up there. The value line this year has been miserable. That is why I've suffered. I'm telling you right now, I cannot find value plays. I have had such a hard time identifying good value plays that's why I've been miserable at DFS. Absolutely miserable. But we're going to turn it around. We are going to turn it around. We also have to turn around this episode, Craig, because believe it or not, we are out of time.
Oh, really?
I know, right? It just flies when we get going. So time for final thoughts. Craig, what do you got for me this week?
Final thoughts, being week, man, we're already week 6. Crazy, huh?
Week 6.
This is the time, if you want to, and don't be like me last year and just drop people in week 2. Don't do that.
Oh, God.
Because, I know, I understand. I totally get it. You get frustrated and you're like, screw this guy. You drop him. But if you're looking at trade, and you've won a couple games and you're looking at trade, now is the time to do it. Because you can, buy low, sell high in some guys. So if you have people in your leagues that like trading, you might be able to find some value somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Trade. I've seen more trade talk in the leagues I'm in this year than I have in years past. Now, as I said, I'm having a miserable year with season long. Absolutely miserable. Every week, I'm one of the top 4 or 5 teams in scoring, but I can't get a head-to-head win because somebody dies. It's bizarre. Last week, it was Devon A-Chain this week. The week before, it was Rashi Rice. I can't keep my squad healthy. They're either underperforming or they're falling over. And
yes.
So it's been kind of a weird year. But I completely agree with that. Patience, and that's where I'm going to go to. Patience, this has been a very unusual start to the year. A lot of what we thought to be true in terms of like guys that were going to be really, really good has turned out to be not true at all. Or they're having a slower start. For example, CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb only has 2 games over 15 points. That's it. And he has 2 games under 10. That is not what we expected. He doesn't have a 100-yard performance. He only has 2 touchdowns. That is not... You told me after 5 weeks he was going to have a combined 378 yards. I would have said you're insane. He would easily be over 450. He'd be averaging 80, 90 yards a week. And it just hasn't happened. Same thing in the running back realm. I mean, we had no idea CMC was as hurt as he is. I mean, Craig was like, no, I'm going to pass on him. But, even Ramondre Stevenson has been more consistent than we've seen. He's got 350 yards in 5 games. That is more than I thought he was going to have. He only had 120 against Cincy. He had a big opening day. My point is, be patient with yourself and trust your process. Don't panic, trade, or drop. Like Craig is saying, don't drop a guy just because he hasn't performed up to your expectations. Now is a time to buy low on a lot of these guys. Somebody sent me an offer last week. They wanted me to trade in the Twitch League. They wanted me to trade CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott because the Cowboys looked like they were imploding. And I'm sure he thought this is a buy low opportunity. And I was like, nope. CeeDee Lamb is going to turn this around. I think he's still good for X amount of points. You're going to have to give big numbers to get him. And the guy was like, yeah, no, you're asking way too much than I want to pay. And the best part was his initial response was, it's a really nice guy. I'm not trying to make fun of this guy. This guy's named Daniel. Daniel's initial response was, if you run that through any trade calculator, they'll ban your IP address. It's so bad.
Wow.
And I said, okay.
Wow.
So I did. I linked him the Fantasy Pros trade calculator. And I said, actually, it says you're getting the better end of the deal. And he was like, I can't believe people are valuing CeeDee Lamb that high. And I'm like, we are, because we're patient. Patience. Don't chase points. I had this conversation with another player who's in her 2nd year ever. There was a couple weeks ago, she wanted to bench Mike Evans for Alec Pierce.
Okay.
Because
I don't like Mike Evans.
Alec Pierce had the hearts. Right. But Alec Pierce had that hot start, right? He had 2 touchdowns in the first 2 weeks and like 180 yards. And I'm like, nope, you start your studs. Don't do this. And she's like, well, I don't know. And she ended up doing it. And that was the week Mike Evans had the really good week. So, patience, guys. Be patient with your process. Don't cling to guys, but don't panic. You should also not panic about leaving us a review. We love them. We look forward to them. We hope you'll do one. Whatever podcast directory you found us on, please go there and leave us a review. It helps the podcast tremendously. If you want to reach out, we are fignutsdfs@gmail.com, or we are on Facebook at the Football Fignuts Podcast. Craig, week 6, another in the books. It's the end of 8. The Mets are coming out with their closer coming in with a chance to close out the Phillies. I'm going to go watch the end of this game.
All right, man, you enjoy, and I just looked, and the Yankees are winning against the Royals, so everything's good right now.
Everything's coming up Millhouse at the moment. Let's keep it going. Guys, we hope it keeps it going for you in week 6. Oh, and a very happy birthday to our friend Deb.
That's right. Happy birthday to Deb.
She celebrated the anniversary of her 29th birthday this year.
Exactly.
So, that's
exactly.
That's it. We won't say what anniversary it is, but it's the anniversary. So, hi, Deb, and happy birthday. Guys, we'll be back next week. Until we talk again, my name is Britt.
I'm Craig.
And we are the Football Fignuts Podcast.